Hey guys, and welcome to today's video. So today's video is going to be my thoughts on 5 new fragrance releases just in time for fall. So let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Okay, so first up, we are going to start off with Jimmy Choo's I Want You with Love. And this is a floral fruity fragrance for women, and it's described as floral fruity, rose, sweet, citrus, white floral, and vanilla with top notes of raspberry, mandarin orange, and orange blossom, middle notes of hibiscus, rose, and freesia, and base notes of vanilla, sandalwood, and musk. So this is not a bad fragrance. I did only test this once because it's all I needed to know that this was very redundant. I have had fragrances like this and have still fragrances like this in my collection. This is a fruity, kind of jammy, rosy scent. It is being compared to Delina, and at initial spray, unlike some of the ones I'm gonna mention, I feel like I can see why in the opening people go straight to Delina. It has this kind of tartness that's in Delina that's not in some of the fragrances I'm going to mention. So when this scent opens up, I do get that kind of tartness that I get in Delina that comes from the rhubarb, but there's no rhubarb in here, so I'm not sure where it's coming from. It's almost like there's pink pepper because there's something tickling my nose, and then something a little tart in the opening. But that quickly goes away. Like, that is the first blast that I get where I'm like, okay, I get that comparison. But immediately that goes away and the jammy raspberry comes in. And then this scent reminds me of Angel Nova by Mugler and Very Good Girl and Very Good Girl Glam by Carolina Herrera, with all of them having their differences. Like Good Girl Glam has cherry, and then I believe Angel Nova and Very Good Girl have like the raspberry note. But it's that jammy kind of raspberry that you get in those, and those fragrances are very reminiscent of Delina. So they fall in a very similar scent family, but to me they're not dupes. There are dupe houses that have duped Delina and have duped it very well, but these to me fall in a similar scent family. So I don't think this smells like Delina. I don't think it's sisters. If anything, Delina's like a very rich aunt, and then this is her kind of fun younger niece. This one is more playful. It's fruity with that raspberry note, where I find Delina to be more tart. And then this one's, it gets sweeter with the orange blossom. This is a scent that pretty much, once that initial spray goes down, I just get a kind of a jammy, fruity rose scent. But then in the deep dry down, the sandalwood comes in. But to me, it reminds me of the wood that I get from Angel Nova, which this is why this one reminded me more of Angel Nova. I get that kind of annoying Akigala wood, even though it's not listed. I get it in here like I do in that scent. And then this becomes a borderline scrubber for me. I did test it for the full day. It lasted all day, but I didn't care for the base. So it's not a bad scent. If you don't have anything like this, I think you will like it. I'm going to just declutter this and bundle it with Jimmy Choo I Want You Forever. I recently decluttered a 30 ml. It's not anything I need. It's redundant in my collection. I have Very Good Girl and Very Good Girl Glam that's very reminiscent. Not exact, but they're definitely closer in family. I find Angel Nova and the Very Good Girl Glams to be more sisters to this. So again, that's Jimmy Choo's I Want You with Love. So next we have Marc Jacobs Perfect Absolute, and this is a floral fragrance for women and men. This is described as sweet, caramel, fruity, ambery, white floral, and woody. This has top notes of fig and caramel, middle notes of jasmine, and base notes of amber. This fragrance, unlike Jimmy Choo, this one has stages, and I'm still playing with this one, but it is really nice. I think what keeps me is the mid, but this opens up with a tartness. It's not the usual like kind of coconutty fig, maybe more like fig leaf. There's something a little green in this one in the opening. So you get that kind of, I think it's rhubarb in the original. You get the original DNA with a little bit of the elixir that came out, I want to say earlier this year. So it does have the original Perfect DNA, even though, see, my mouth is watering, even though they don't list rhubarb, I get a very sour, tart rhubarb. And then I get something kind of green, almost like a fig leaf. And then as it dries down, the florals come in, and even though they just list jasmine, I feel like maybe I don't know, I feel like there's almost like a freesia note in here. It doesn't smell like freesia, but freesia tends to give me this kind of itchy, like something scratchy when fragrances have freesia, and I get that in the mid, and that is the part of the fragrance that I don't love. But then when in the deep dry down, when the caramel and the amber come in, the caramel in here is more like a warm toasted caramel, not overly sweet, and then with the amber it's just very warm. I think this scent is very pretty, especially if you live in a cooler area where you get like a true fall and winter. This one is really pretty. It is more cooler weather for what I like. The next day, I really enjoyed waking up to that kind of warm toasted caramel. It gave me that fall feeling. So I think this one's gonna be really nice to kind of create the feeling of fall. I just can't spray heavy because to me, I will enjoy this scent in cooler weather, even if it just drops to 70, because we're still experiencing high 80s here. Even if we just drop a little bit more, like 10 degrees, this one's beautiful. It's more of your darker fruity fragrance. There's fragrances that have a brightness to them with citruses and more brighter fruit, and this one almost has something plummy as well. Like it feels like a darker juicy fruit in this one. I think the bottle is beautiful. I think this one is nice. I just don't know that I would get a larger bottle because I live here in Florida, and also just the mid I'm not crazy about. It gets a little scratchy to my nose. All right, next we have Vanilla Salt by Ellis Brooklyn, and I had a feeling I was gonna like this one. I kind of smelled this one as I was looking at not only the bottle but the description of this one. This one is said to be inspired by the Gold Coast of Connecticut, and I am from Connecticut, definitely not from that side of Connecticut, but I don't know why my mind went to Cape Cod. Like my trip when I went to Cape Cod, like that's the closest I got to a nice area in New England, and I just knew it was going to be a soft airy vanilla with kind of a salty sea breeze, and that is what this smells like to me. It's a vibe. It does remind me of fragrances that remind me of breathing in the beach air, you know, having kind of like a solar accord. So Vanilla Salt by Ellis Brooklyn is a vanilla fragrance for both men and women. It's described as vanilla, sweet, salty, lactonic, and powdery with notes of sea salt, watery notes, middle notes of whipped cream, jasmine, and ylang-ylang, and base notes of vanilla, benzoin, musk, and woody notes. So when this scent opens, you get the salt, but again, it's more like when you breathe in like salty beach air, and you get a muskiness which really balances out the vanilla in here. So this one isn't overly vanilla yet, even though it could get stronger. It's a vanilla fragrance with this clean, musky, salty vibe, and it's very pretty. And it did remind me of something, even though to me I don't have anything like this, but it reminded me of something. So I went on Fragrantica and people were comparing this to Alien Goddess, which I don't agree with. I didn't like Alien Goddess. I am gonna play with them because I do have a travel of Alien Goddess, and then I'll probably do a comparison. But I then saw the comparison to Coconut Sun by the Seven Virtues, and that is where I see the similarities. It could be a flanker, like one of those fragrances where it's got the DNA, but where Coconut Sun leans more coconut, this one leans more salty. And it's, again, not like straight up salt. It's like when you think of the salty beach air, but very light and airy. I feel like the whipped cream in here, to me, doesn't come off like tonic. It almost adds this fluffiness, this airiness to this fragrance. I really do enjoy this one. So again, that's Vanilla Salt by Ellis Brooklyn. All right, next we have Cherry Stem by Phlur. And if you can't tell, I don't think you can see it, but this is halfway done. Cherry Stem by Phlur. You want a new cherry? Now, there could be other cherries like this, but I just haven't smelled them. But this is unlike any cherry I have in my, well, I can't say that. The cherry in here is reminiscent to me as the Boozy Cherry and Viktor and Rolf's Dancing Roses, but they're different fragrances. So Cherry Stem by Phlur. This is a floral fruity fragrance for women. This is described as cherry, sweet, woody, floral, leathery, white floral, and warm spicy. With top notes of black cherry, orange brandy, heart notes of red freesia, sugar jasmine, and plum nectar, and base notes of ebony woods, warm caramel, and a soft leather accord. I did notice that Fragrantica has the notes listed a little differently. They have, instead of orange brandy, they have orange and then brandy separate. And instead of sugar jasmine, they have sugar and jasmine separate. And I can kind of see why it's separated. I don't know what orange brandy smells like, but this does have a boozy cherry, but then it also has like a bright juicy orange in the opening. Like when this scent opens, it opens up very bright, juicy, a little tart, boozy, and again bright from the orange. And then as it dries down, the booziness kind of falls off. The cherry still remains tart, and then the sugar jasmine comes in, but I get more like jasmine. I never get freesia, thank goodness, but I do get like a clean jasmine, and then I do get something a little sugary, like a sugary sweet, because this fragrance does have different stages. So it gets sweeter, and then it gets juicier from plum. So you don't get that brightness from orange anymore. You get almost a darker fruit, which is the plum that comes in. So you get this kind of bright, intoxicating, fun, flirty, fruity opening, and then as it dries down, it starts to dry down to a deeper, darker, sexier, fruity mid dry down. And then the next stage with the ebony wood and the leather. I never really get caramel, but there is something warm in the fragrance. But the ebony wood and the leather are blended in a way that it just comes off like a dark, wet wood. Think of like the scene from Maleficent, that dark wooded scene. That is the dark wood that comes in the base. It's very sexy, but then in the deep dry down, like the next day, like when the scent is gone, all the notes are kind of dissipating. I will say that ebony wood tends to get a little cologne-y. Like it reminds me a little bit of like old school men's cologne, because I've already had like 4 fragrances where it does that to me. So ebony wood does next day smell a little cologne-y to my nose, but I'm willing to overlook it because this cherry scent is so good. It's different. It's again just this bright, intoxicating opening, and then this dark, sexy dry down. I like the different stages of this one. Also, this is one that Dennis complimented me on. He had left. I had filmed my shorts, so I was spraying it, and then he came home and he's like, did you spray something? And I go, yeah. Why? Is it good? Is it bad? He goes, it's good. And Dennis, I've been testing all of these fragrances and he hasn't mentioned any of them, but he did point out cherry stem. So if you could get your nose on this one, if you can get into store to try it, to make sure you enjoy it, because it is one that you gotta like some of the notes. The leather in here is blended very well. It doesn't come off too leathery, but the next day it is slightly more leather, but it is more of a leather accord instead of like a leather note. So I don't feel like it ever is too much, but this one is good, especially for like date night. And then for fall and winter. This is one I would wear year round. I would just reserve it in spring and summer, like for date night, because it's sexy. And then I think this one would be beautiful in cooler months. So this one was top 3 for sure. Then last we have Valentino's Donna Born in Roma Ivory Valentino. This is described as sweet, powdery, musky, white floral, citrus, vanilla, and soapy. And this has top notes of green mandarin, middle notes of orange blossom and marshmallow, and base notes of musk and Madagascar vanilla. So this is actually my scent of the day. And I did film a shorts on this one, trying to be funny. I did test this out before I purchased it. I didn't blind buy this. I wasn't gonna buy this one. So when I first saw this released and didn't see the notes, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get that. That's gonna be a clean, soapy Donna Born in Roma. Just like the bottle implies, it's gonna be ivory. It's gonna evoke the texture and color of ivory. And then I saw the notes and I'm like, nope, I'm not getting it. I saw the orange blossom and the marshmallow. I'm like, that's gonna be too sickly sweet. Then I saw the comparisons to Kilian's The Love Don't Be Shy and Oriana, and I'm like, I'm definitely not getting it. Then I started seeing the reviews where people were like, no, it's not the same. So when I went into store and tried it, this was everything I wanted it to be. The orange blossom in here is not sickly sweet. It's more like floral, and the marshmallow in here adds this beautiful powderiness that is more like when you crumple up a marshmallow bag. So not when you're smelling a bag opened or you're eating a marshmallow, but when you crumple up the bag and that dust kind of just fills the air, that's the marshmallow that's in here. Very soft and powdery. A dusting of it. This one's also soapy. On my skin, I pull the soapiness in this one. I hear soapy from some people and some people don't get soapy, just like some people do get more of a sweet orange blossom and I don't. This to me is the orange blossom, just a watered down version of the orange blossom that's in Valleja by Parfums de Marly. Valentino Pink has orange blossom, and that's another reason why I wasn't gonna pick this one up, because the orange blossom and Valentino's Pink is very sugary sweet. I do enjoy that one because it still has the DNA, but I gotta wear it in fall and winter because it does have that kind of sugary sweet orange blossom, like the orange blossom in Oriana. And then the orange blossom in here, like the orange blossom in Valleja, it's got a touch of sweetness, but it's more about the floral side of orange blossom. It's not sickly sweet, because I've compared those two and how the orange blossoms are different to my nose. Here, this one reminds me more of a watered down orange, like almost like orange blossom water or essence. It's more of a watery white floral orange blossom. And then I do get the musk, and the vanilla in here is very soft. Now, of course, this scent can get stronger, but it's definitely more of a soft, airy scent. I don't want to say it's a skin scent. It's not a skin scent on me. It's more of a come hither kind of scent. Come into the crook of my neck kind of fragrance. Like, you gotta smell the person. It is a little bit more intimate, but I wouldn't say I have to put nose to skin. It isn't like a your skin but better fragrance, which I also think is misused a lot. Your skin but better means it's more of a skin scent. Your skin smells good. This one does beam off your skin. You do get wafts of it. I think the performance is gonna vary because this to me has great longevity. Again, it's not a beast mode of a fragrance. It's not gonna project longer than arm's length. At least it didn't on me, and it doesn't on a lot of other people, but it did perform very well. This is a fragrance that when I sprayed it on in the evening to retest, I smelled it the next day. This lasts me all day when I test it out during work, but when I wore it at night and took my shower and then went to bed and woke up, then it became a skin scent, but it was still there. So this has really great performance. It's one of those fragrances that I feel like it's gonna be an everyday wear because it kind of doesn't bother me. It floats off into the background, and as I'm like typing and doing stuff at work, or I get up to walk Oliver, I'll catch whiffs of it, and I enjoy fragrances like that. Those are my kind of daily wear fragrances. With that said, this to me isn't everyday. Like, this is a signature scent, but it's a very like put together kind of scent. It's also a little more grown up to me and mature. So a lot of the people that I'm noticing that are not liking this one, are returning this one, are more of the younger girls that I saw reviewing it. I feel like my older reviewers like this one kind of like me. I do feel like this has a more mature vibe to it. It's got a more mature woman who's got her life together. She's wearing ivory. I can totally picture someone wearing all ivory with this scent on and with gold jewelry. I think the bottle is perfect. It's clean, it's sophisticated, it's got this touch of vanilla, this white floral with this touch of sweetness from the marshmallow. It's musky and it's soapy. I do really pick up the soapiness in this one, but it's not like a sharp soapiness. It's just this clean girl aesthetic. This is a scent that I went and tested out. So that is, of course, what I recommend for any of these fragrances. Test it out, because I know a lot of people were disappointed with this one, especially looking at the notes. There are so many people who love gourmands, and I think they were expecting a gourmand type fragrance, and you're not gonna get that. Oh my goodness. This to me is a clean, sophisticated fragrance. Just think of this bottle. That's what this smells like. This smells like this bottle. And I think this one's beautiful. This was a hit for me. I don't think it's worth the price tag, but I was too scared I wasn't gonna be able to find this one during any of the holiday sales, and I probably will, and then I'll be upset with myself. But that's how they do it, right? They list it as limited edition, so you're scared you're gonna miss out. And because I tested it out and I loved it, I didn't want to miss out on it, so I did pay the high price tag. Do I think it's worth it? No. I have niche fragrances that I think are overly priced. Have I spent the money on them? Yes. So I would say get into store, and only you can decide if it's worth your money. I was willing to pay the high price tag. I paid full price for this one, but I'm not mad at it. I would just say get into store to test it out first. Okay, so I did want to rank these. So first up in the #1 spot is Valentino's Ivory. This one definitely is neck and neck with my second choice. The only reason why this one made it to first is because even though I find this next one, the scent, to be more interesting, this is more year round. I can see myself getting a lot more wear out of this one, and this to me is signature scent worthy. In my #2 spot, but very close to being #1, was Cherry Stem by Phlur. This is a gorgeous cherry fragrance. I'm so happy we got a different cherry, and it's just intoxicating and boozy, and this is sexy. I think this is gonna be a crowd pleaser, and I think men are gonna enjoy this one as well. Third place would go to Vanilla Salt. This is a beautiful, salty, just comforting vanilla fragrance, and I am looking forward to adding this one into my collection as well. Third place is Marc Jacobs Perfect Absolute. I enjoyed this one. It's definitely not a favorite. I think I'll go through the travel. I'll compare this one to Elixir in a future like shorts video. It's nice, and I would say get into store to try it. I do see some people really enjoying this one. And then last, and still in its packaging because I'm just ready to rehome this one, is I Want You with Love by Jimmy Choo. This is just redundant in my collection. We've smelled this before, and not only like in flanker form, but just by different houses. Mugler, Carolina Herrera. We've smelled this before, but it's not a bad fragrance, but it is in last place. I'm just gonna talk about the performance on all of these in general. They all have great longevity. I would say the ones that beamed off my skin more, they were louder, was Phlur Cherry Stem, Marc Jacobs Perfect, and Jimmy Choo's I Want You with Love. I would say the ones that performed pretty decent, they were more in like a bubble, was Vanilla Salt and Valentino Ivory. All of the fragrances had great longevity. They all lasted my entire work day, and then even when I took a shower and tried them out the next day, with the exception of this one I didn't try, but the other ones I did try my overnight test, they all lingered in different ways. But again, this is very personal to my skin and how they performed on me. They might perform different, but I know some people like to ask, so I like to share that. This is how these fragrances performed on me. So yeah, guys, that is my review on 5 new fragrances just in time for fall. Let me know in the comments below, have you guys tried any of these and what are your thoughts on them? But that will do it for today's video. I hope you liked it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.